Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And today I've been meaning to get to this ever since I saw it on X about a week ago. It's this new feeble fool named Brilyn Hollyhand. He's this 19-year-old fruitcake from Alabama who he's dubbed the next Charlie Kirk. He's been dubbed the internet's youngest voice of reason. Well, in this couple of videos that I'm going to show you, it's not reason that this, I don't want to say something that's going to get me thrown off of these platforms, but this twerp, this weasel, is not the voice of reason. He's actually the voice of treason. You're going to see in this video here, he's going to expose himself as the cuck that he is. He's bought and paid for by people with the funny little hats. I think he received $960,000 from AIPAC already. He is your typical evangelical protester of Christ's church, Southern apologist. He is fake, phony a fraud as you will ever see. And this is what you must be careful about, because when people look for the next best thing, they look for the next Charlie Kirk. And I say, no thanks. We don't need another Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was weak. He was a milquetoast cuck. That's all I can say. Look at his wife, the way she's conducting it. Well, his whatever you want to call her now. Look at how this broad's conducting herself today. She's all happy. She finally got rid of this guy. And you want to replace him with this. Now, we are going to expose this guy, Hollyhand, who's been touring campuses for Turning Point USA, which is, I mean, listen, anybody who takes Turning Point USA seriously is just, you're a fool. This vapid, odious skunk who smiles at you like a used car salesman is trying to convince you that we need more immigration, that we need more, sub-Saharan Africans and more Indians and more Chinese and more Middle Easterns in this country. We need it, because if we don't get that, white people can't handle themselves. White people cannot live without these immigrants from other countries who are going to destroy our way of life. Western civilization isn't good enough to survive without these people. The greatest thing that God ever gave us was, of course, Jesus. Western civilization. The introduction of Republican government, the Roman Republican government, not the rhinos that we have, the shit that we have today. And of course, the white Christian heterosexual male. Those are the four greatest gifts God ever gave this planet. Except for this fruitcake right here. I want to call him a fag, but I feel like I'm going to get thrown off of X if I do that, or thrown off of any of these platforms if I do. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why he promotes more immigration into this country. And he uses the magic term that he probably doesn't even know where it comes from, but he uses the magic term that proves that he's been bought and paid for by our friends in the desert. As Junior Soprano once said, keep an eye on these desert people. Well, here's Brilyn Hollyhand. What kind of name is that, by the way? I mean, can his parents give him a real man's name? I mean, Jesus Christ. Here he is answering a question from a student who pushes him. Thank God. It seems like these white males are no longer afraid to stand up and ask these tough questions and push back. Brilyn, of course, Brilyn, whatever his name is, didn't account very well for himself.
So we should keep increasing the amount of legal immigrants.
Legal immigrants, yes, we're a melting pot. I absolutely support that.
So I'm sure you understand these groups vote overwhelmingly against American values. They vote for the Democratic Party. So surely that's the death of the Republican Party, right?
Yes, but we can't close our borders and have our nation where we don't accept anybody to come in. So I've been a very big proponent against...
Plenty of countries do that.
We can't just completely close our borders off and never allow somebody else to migrate into the country.
Why not?
Because that's how the country was started, as a melting pot. Like, we welcome people in.
This country did not start as a melting pot. That term was invented in 1910 by Israel Zangwill.
So the people that came over from England didn't melt into America.
No, they started in America. They didn't melt in anything.
Okay. I've been very clear that I'm against illegal immigration coming into this country and plaguing our generation for not getting jobs, making our streets unsecure, and actually harming Americans' future. Because therefore there's no safe America and free America to grow up in.
Again, my question wasn't about illegal immigration, it was about legal immigration.
And I think we should support more people coming legally and not illegally.
Okay, I think we all understand what you're...
So as that young man, the question asker, rightly and correctly said, the term melting pot was a British play written by Israel Zangwill back in 1910. I forgot the name of the play, actually. What was it called? I think the play was called The Melting Pot. And it was about, the first stages of America in 1908, accepting white people in the country to help build it. Not foreigners who are not Christian or from Western European or who come from Western civilization and practice Christianity. Brilyn doesn't understand that. Brilyn is just reading what his friends in the funny hat at AIPAC are writing for him. The minute you hear melting pot or we're a Judeo-Christian country, you know that those people are getting their $7,000 in the mail. They're getting that direct deposit right off the bat. And this guy's, like I said, AIPAC has paid him, and you can look it up. He's making over $690,000 or $960,000 from AIPAC. Why? He has no credibility. He's a 19-year-old fruitcake. And if you think this kid is a genius and you believe what the right-wing media or like Fox News or all these other assholes are saying about him, that he was this 11-year-old who started a fucking Republican think tank or whatever, that's all bullshit. Hollyhand's family, his grandfather and his father, are multimillionaire real estate investors from Alabama, and they specialize in, guess what? Section 8 housing. They're fucking slumlords. That's why they want illegal immigrants in this country. That's why they want Indians and sub-Saharan Africans and Middle Easterns and all these other assholes in here, because those are the ones that come and they get subsidized housing that puts money in this motherfucker's pocket. He doesn't give a shit about America. He doesn't give a shit about Christians. He doesn't give a shit about Western civilization. You can tell what kind of retard he is. Well, when the British came here, didn't they melt into American culture? There was no fucking American culture back then. The Western powers built that from scratch. There was savage Indians running around killing each other and sacrificing children so the crops would grow in a month. This is the type of garbage that we have to avoid. It's cuckery like this and stupidity and just thin-minded retards that just because they have a white face and they smile and they have, hay color hair and they have a little bit of that y'all. First of all, anybody who uses the term y'all is disqualified from ever trying to influence anybody. You're fucking retarded if you use that term. Sorry. No, you know what? I'm not sorry. Fuck you. But this guy stammers and stumps and stutters all over the place because he can't answer these questions. He thinks that because he's this white Republican Christian protester, I guarantee he's an evangelical, that all these other white guys in the audience there are just going to nod like donkeys. Those days are fucking over now. The boomer rhetoric, and this kid is 19 years old and he has boomer rhetoric. The boomer rhetoric is dead. Just like MAGA is dead. Nobody believes this shit anymore. Nobody believes this shit about we need immigrants in this country. What happens if the United States of America kicked out every single person that wasn't white or Christian? What would happen to the United States? I tell you, we'd be in flying car. It'd be like the fucking Jetsons. It really would be. If the Western world and the United States is part of the Western world, meaning Western civilization, if they just got rid of everybody who wasn't like them, and it went back to the 1600s with what we know today, we wouldn't have to worry about going to Mars. We'd be there. We'd be vacationing on fucking Saturn within 120, 130 years. We're being held back by immigration. Have you seen what these schools look like today? Have you seen what these universities look like today? There's case in point. This guy goes to the University of Auburn. He's supposed to be smart. He is not even. He's. Oh, geez. These guys piss me off. Here's another video of him calling anti-immigration conservatives elitists and insane and all this other shit. See if you can stomach this.
My question to you is, what is an American? Because as somebody who has lived in Essex and whose ancestors has been in Essex, and even in the same region since 1752, this question seems to be very prominent in the upcoming years, because you have a bunch of illegals that you have talked about, but also legal immigration that threaten to change the social dynamics and culture of this country. Like this guy over here said, the H-1B incident. I actually work in tech. I work with a couple of them.
You see it firsthand.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely see it firsthand. And it's disheartening to me that we are educating people and bringing them up in these universities, and then immediately they can't find a job because of we are importing in legal immigration. And so the issue that I think our generation is facing is not just illegal, but legal. Right. So, and again, what is an American? I don't think an American is somebody who just came off the boat maybe 10, 15 years ago. We've seen this in, in Dearborn, Michigan, and even with that guy running for mayor in Minneapolis, Omar. These guys have been born here, right? They should be Americans, but they clearly are not. So it doesn't necessarily take a piece of paper to say that you're American. It's something completely different. And these people have also been entrenched in our culture as well, and they still are not American. So what is an American?
I absolutely will stand by the fact that I'm pro-legal immigration, because I can't look at somebody and ask them to not break into our country through the wide open border, to go stand in line for a decade, to do the hard work, to do it the right way and come in legally. And then when they come in legally, we close the door in their face and say, actually, we're not accepting anybody else to come experience the freedom that we are blessed to have here in America. I think it's insane and entitled of us to sit here and look at the freedoms we have in this country and say, whoa, this is awesome, but let's not let anybody in that comes in legally. Yes, there's a process, and we should encourage people to go through the process. But it is an insane, standoffish, elitist concept for us to say, if you're here, you're lucky. But we're closing the door and nobody else can ever come back in. I understand that there's frustration there. I understand that we should change some of the streamlining that's happened with that process. But there is in no sense that I'm ever, regardless of if people disagree, again, that's the whole point of this. You're allowed to come here and disagree. We encourage that. But I'm not going to close the door in somebody's face that came here the right way, that wants to experience the same America that you and I are so blessed to experience. We don't control where we're born. We are so blessed. I'm more than thankful to be blessed and born in a Christian conservative household in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But nobody can control that where they were born outside of this country. But they can fight and come here the right way, and they can stand next to me as an American. But I can't look at them and say, yeah, you came here last week, you did it the right way, you waited through the process, you did whatever you had to do, but you're still not an American in my eyes just because you weren't born next to me on the street. That's insane to me.
Again, you did not answer the question of what
I
is
did.
America.
I just said that
You talked about legal policy. You talked about legal immigrant policy. You did not talk about...
I think an American is somebody that comes in here legally and does it the right way and stands shoulder to shoulder right next to me with American citizenship. I understand your point that there's frustration that people have done it the wrong way and that people have come in either illegally or with wrong intentions. But I cannot, in good conscience, close the door in the face of people that are excited to enjoy the American experiment with us. That's just not going to happen from my perspective. So they're Americans just as much as you are in my eyes, regardless if they were born next to me on my street or if they came in off the boat, as you said yesterday.
In the Constitution, in the preamble, it clearly states that this country, this Constitution, is here for ourselves, not posterity. Posterity meaning for our generations coming after. So this country of ours is an inheritance. To me, it seems very illogical to want to give that inheritance away to people who were not born here, who do not share our values and our culture.
So what's illogical and what's giving it away is giving it to people that walk in the wide open border. That's a problem. We've made it 200.
If it's illegal,
It does in my eyes, though, as does the law.
These are fucking your eyes.
The effective product is the same.
It's not, though.
It absolutely.
America's gotten here for 250 years by people coming into this country legally. And 2025, because you're annoyed with some of the crime and some of the working force problems that's happened in this country, we're going to close the door in the face of people that want to come enjoy the same American experiment that you and I are blessed to grow up with. I can't in good conscience do that.
Again, you are selling our inheritance by doing that.
All right, you can run for office and you can do something against that. I encourage you to.
What a smug pussy this guy is. And I have to apologize. I thought he was one of those Protestant evangelicals like Charlie. I can't believe he's Catholic. But you know what? I can believe it. The way the church has been conducting themselves now. But you talk about a guy who's entitled. He was talking about entitleists and selfish and blah, 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 blah. This motherfucker's family are multimillionaires. And he can stand up there. And he's a plant. Let's make no fucking bones about it. This guy is a plant. He's a bad plant. And he's already been found out. It took Charlie Kirk, a few years to get found out. But there were still people who liked him. This guy, it's over. He's finished before he can drink. And with the Jesus Save shirt, give me a fucking break. And to look at that guy in the eye, the guy in the audience, and say, somebody who came off the boat is just as entitled and just as American as you are if you've been here since the 1800s. That is what a smug motherfucker he is. Those are the type of people you just want to they're lonesome fucking posers. And these are the people we have to just turn away and ignore. He doesn't give, he just said it right there. You could come off the boat tomorrow, get some fucking paper that says you're American and you're American. You don't speak the language. You don't practice the religion that America has been founded and based on. You don't believe in the same fucking moral code that Americans do or Western civilization, people of Western civilization do. And this kid is 19 fucking years old and he's talking like he's seen the world and he knows how it works. He's a plant of monumental proportions. And he is a dying relic of the young boomer movement that is already dead. That movement died with Charlie Kirk. Thank God. Not that I'm wishing Charlie, I wish Charlie any ill will, of course. Well, it's too late for that. I'm not happy about what happened to him, but he was doing nothing for the United States of America. This guy is not America first. Forget about America only. This guy is AIPAC Israel first because he is a shill. He wants you replaced. He wants your families replaced. Of course, his won't be because they live behind big gates. But he doesn't give two shits about what happens to you, me, or our kids. As long as those Section 8 houses are full, and they're being paid for by your tax dollars, by the way, he doesn't give a fuck. These are the people that disturb me the most. Because people listen to them, they go on TV. They're given all this bullshit fucking accolades and all that other stuff. These are the people you have to watch out for. These are the people that are the most disturbing. And these are the wolves in sheep's clothing. And there's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Oh, my friends, be careful out there. Be careful out there. Satan is always busy, and he's at work with this little fruitcake. Be a man, have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.